Sweet. All right. So we'll start off with acknowledgement to country. We acknowledge that we dance and walk in the footsteps of the Muanina people. We are privileged to live and learn beneath Kunani, among the forests, ocean, and waterways of Litruwita. Sovereignty was never ceded. We pay respects to the Tasmanian Aboriginal community, who are the custodians of this land and the oldest continuing culture in the world. And I'll hand it over to Priya.
Great. Hello, everyone. Thanks for that. I'm going to just steal my iPad. Cool. Okay, so the way it's going to run, we're going to do the President's report, we're going to do our Treasurer's report, and then we're going to vote. And it's going to be wrapped up really quickly. That's the plan. So first of all, I would like to thank everyone for coming, first of all. It's amazing. And I just want to take the opportunity, first of all, to acknowledge not only that there are volunteers and people giving up their time to be here, but there's just been a huge amount of volunteer labour in this dance community this year, and it's often quiet and often unappreciated, and I'd like to appreciate it and acknowledge it right now. So thank you for everything this year. So some of the things that I wanted to acknowledge in particular were the classes. They've been amazing this year. We've had events, we've had setting up and packing down, we've had promotion work, we've had the constant attention by many volunteers to the registration desk at the front of Mather's house. We've had the management of money, we've had invoices and refunds, we've had risk assessments and insurance policies, and we've had grant applications, I think 9 in total, but maybe our treasurer will tell us more about that. I stand corrected already. We've had meetings, more than 11. We've had conversations with students. We've had the patient and often repetitive explanations to people making inquiries, particularly at the registration desk. We've had the making of decorations, some incredible bunting, if I do say so myself, replying to emails, organising to pay rent, making payments to teachers and DJs, planning our class blocks, our future events in the calendar, and so much more. And it's all been done by volunteers. So if you've been involved in all of this work, even in some small capacity, I just wanted to say we're all so grateful, and you can feel that the success of our community is in some way yours. So beyond the ongoing tasks, the minutiae, the administrivia, I'd also like to acknowledge that there's just an ongoing passion for dance in this community and an ongoing commitment. So in the minutes of our meetings, when I was looking back writing my report, there was just so many ideas and so many proposals, some of which we did, some of which we didn't, and there are so many more in the near future. So that's just amazing that people still feel that they have a voice and they have a stake in what we're doing. And so many people have come forward with ideas. It's amazing. So because of all this work, we have currently 318 members from classes and events just this year, since January, which is pretty amazing. And those numbers are going up. So our classes have run every month this year at Mather's house. We've also run drop-in classes and parties at the Little Poet and at the Sondel Sur party in June. Okay, so actually, I made a graph. Of course I made a graph. Okay, so these are our numbers actually. So you can see in orange are the total enrolments in classes, and in blue are the number of students. So we have just a larger number of enrolments than students, which is something I'm going to talk about in a minute as well. So we've found that people who are already enrolled in a class with us are more likely to enrol in a third or a second or a third class just to try something new, which is pretty cool, and that's in part due to our discounted second and third class cost prices. In May, we ran Rueda classes as well as swing, bachata and salsa. Oh, sorry, I just want to go back a second. In January and February, we started with intermediate and beginner salsa, and we had, I don't know if you remember, but we had a solo bachata class. So we have done solo dancing at our society this year, and that was because, if you remember, in January and February, we had possibly the worst COVID numbers you can imagine in Tasmania, particularly in our age group. So we taught a solo bachata class so that there was a low contact dancing option available. So the highest ever recorded COVID-19 numbers in Tasmania in the age group 18 to 30 were in April, and those numbers spiked again to almost the same height in July. So that was what we were kind of contending with this year. That is our primary age group for our students. And it's been there have been ongoing considerations to overcome with that. For example, the Hobart City Council has had a vaccine mandate in all of its buildings up until very recently, and Mather's House is one of those buildings. So we've had to turn people away who have not been vaccinated. And again, that work has been done by volunteers, those awkward conversations. We've also been impacted by having really high rates of sickness amongst our volunteers and our teachers. Some nights we've had half of our teaching or half of our volley force away with COVID, and we've had to work through all of that this year. Okay, so in March we had the same classes, but we got bachata back as a partner dance. And in April we saw the introduction of swing dancing classes to our Tuesday night classes, and the swing teachers have been incredibly passionate and consistent, and have brought a lot of new dancers to our community who otherwise might not have tried partner dancing. Okay, so, all right, oops, going back. Oh yes, so those were the enrolments and students, and these are the average number of classes per student for each month. So something that I find really interesting about our dance society is people are doing more than one class, and they're committed to more than one style, which is pretty amazing. So we have people trying swing dancing and then also signing up to salsa and things like that. So that's something that we've done pretty successfully, I think, this year in particular. Okay, so in May, we ran Rueda classes as well as swing, bachata and beginner salsa. The Rueda contingent has been very strong and enthusiastic. We ran it for 3 months, I think. A personal triumph, a personal joy for me is seeing the number of people, many of whom are in this room, who feel confident in starting and calling Ruedas on the social dance floor. So this has been a deterrent to Rueda practice in the past. Hello. So you might not know it, but in other dance community, Ruedas are quite gate-kept, and often the calling role is associated with the male leading role. So in other dance communities, only men lead Ruedas, and this role is usually gate-kept by a few experienced dancers. On our social dance floor, amazingly, anyone and everyone can and will call a Rueda, and it's pretty great to see this tradition spreading and being so enjoyed, which I just like. I started Rueda last year, and I just feel really, really proud of all our Rueda folk who are out there starting them whenever there's a chance. So Rueda, swing, beginner salsa and bachata continued into June and July, despite those being our months with the lowest numbers. Yeah, you can see there. June and July, lowest enrollments and lowest numbers. Okay, so, oops, sorry. Over the year, we said goodbye to some teachers. So we said goodbye to Camilo, Sasha, Felipe and Dan. But we also welcomed Rel, Jenny, B, Julian, Brian, Luca, Fernanda and Helen. Marianne, Natalie, Tori and Ella have worked with us in some capacity as volunteer teachers' aides during classes. So we have about 14 teachers at the moment, or people involved in teaching, which I think is just epic. Myra, Araman and Kavi and myself are our experienced teachers, and we have done a lot of quiet mentoring behind the scenes with our new teachers, and I would like to thank Myra, Araman and Kavi in particular for taking that on. So on this, we've just found out yesterday that we've won a grant. I applied for this grant in the last grant round of applications, and it's for investing in teacher development. So we have money to put forward to paying someone to create teacher development resources that we can then put on YouTube and share and use into the future, which is awesome. So another change to the teacher schedule this year has been the addition of a backup teacher role. So that's been myself in case of last minute cancellations due to illness. So this has mitigated against some of the dramas that were created in the teacher roster when people have suddenly fallen ill, which was a challenge particularly at the start of the year. At the last meeting, we also increased the teacher pay from $30 per hour to $35 per hour, and we are looking for other ways to increase the financial and career rewards for our teaching staff. And our DJs continue to be paid $15 per hour. Something that I am also personally very proud of and impressed is that we currently have some of the highest paid dancing teachers in Hobart, as well as the cheapest classes.
Excellent, that's it.
Okay, so workshops. We have started workshops this year that have catered to our more advanced dancers in particular. We started with workshops at the old Nick rehearsal space. We started with tango, kizomba, zouk and bachata workshops between 1.5 to 2 hours long, and these were always followed by social dancing depending on the level of exhaustion and foot soreness. These workshops have been increasingly well attended, and the profit from the workshops has increased with each one. So, very impressive graph here with 3 data points. So please don't take this as statistically significant, but it shows a trend. Okay, I just thought I'd put it in there to make us look really good. So the workshops presented an opportunity to formalise our partnership with the Old Nick Company, which is this company who owns this building. I presented a proposal to the Old Nick Executive Committee proposing that we have free use of this space. And in exchange, we would give discounted dance classes to Old Nick members, discounted at the same rate that our members are discounted. So basically, we have the same membership perks. This proposal was accepted by the Old Nick executive, and we're trialling the relationship for 6 months, and then we will continue to review it. So basically, if you have an idea for the use of this space over the next 6 months, come and talk to me, or whoever's the president. We are very grateful for the free use of this space. It's so conveniently located, and we're planning many more workshops and events here. So meetings, we had 11 board meetings this year, many of which lasted over an hour. And I'm very grateful for the general members and executive members who volunteered time out of their busy schedules to attend these meetings. It's not an easy thing to commit in an ongoing way to such administration. Okay, parties. Parties were highly valued and highly attended this year, with our themed little poet parties becoming very loved and a much loved tradition. We also had beach parties in the summer, and our royalty party, which was on the Queen's birthday long weekend in June with the band Sondel Sur. We'd like to continue that relationship and have more events with them because they're amazing. We have a website, which is the other latest and greatest addition to our dance school. So I'd like to just show you the website really quickly. It's very it's very beta tested. It's in beta testing mode. So let's see. All right, let me just move it over to my slides. Okay, haha. We have our website here, folks. It's very exciting. Okay, so this is the main landing page. I just tilt this a little bit. Can you still see? Yes. So this is our main landing page. I'll just run you through it. There are some tabs up the top. If you scroll down, it shows the visitor a little bit about us, and hopefully it gives the visitor a very clear indication of what our dance school is about. So there's a little bit of information about our classes. You can sign up for classes from the website. There's just a few little bits and pieces. Here is a homepage. Up on the top, if, for example, we have the ongoing, ever-present question of what are all these dance styles that you're teaching? For example, people tend to know salsa, but I don't know if anyone's had the question, what is bachata? What is zouk? What is kizomba? If you direct them to this page, they will see a description that I've written, so if there's anything wrong with it, please do come and talk to me, I'll change it. With little videos from our increasingly popular YouTube channel with our recap videos and our promo clips. So for example, you can read a little bit about the style. I've tried to put a little sentence there about why it's different from others, what's unique about the style. So you're more than welcome to correct me here, as I don't dance zouk very often. I've tried to put a bit of information there, but you can click on a video that will show you a bit of zouk dancing from our YouTube channel and so on. So that's been a really cool addition. Of course, the sign up button is everywhere. You can go pretty hard on that. There's a events page which is going to be updated, but with a bit more information, but there's videos and little promos from all of our events, past parties, past workshops, and this will be where we promote things like workshops upcoming or big events that we're going to have. We can put some information there. Something I've put a lot of work into is our code of conduct. So this has been ongoing. I think the important thing about our code of conduct, which makes us quite unique, is that hopefully people can look at this and say, maybe I've done that before in the past. So a lot of code of conducts You might read them and think the person who would be doing these things sounds like a monster, that's never me, you'd never identify yourself. But there's certainly been times where maybe I've breached this code of conduct, or I have done this in an insensitive way. I look at our code of conduct and I think this is definitely something I have to think of and work on in an ongoing way. The top one is the one where it says all the big scary stuff. So our code of conduct hopefully is something you can read and think of in terms of your own practice. If anyone has any issues that they would like us to know about but they don't feel comfortable talking to us about, they can click here to send us anonymous feedback. So this will take them to a Google form which is completely de-identified, and they can write about their experience there. You can read what I've written there because I've put a little bit of work and there's a bit of legalistic consideration behind that document. There's also an About Us page which was really fun to make. So there are some very silly pictures of all of our volleys. I'd like to see everyone acknowledged a little bit more. Some people have, sent me silly photos. Roden was very insistent that it was this one. And other people have, taken it more serious. Well, these will be filled in with bios. Any new people will be added to this because I would like people to come to the website and think, wow, what a big community, what a diverse group of people. They can also contact us directly from the website.
Who's us?
This will go straight to the society email address, which is a core email. Yes, so we're still working on it, folks, but any feedback that you might have about that is, of course, welcome. So that's very exciting. Yay! Cool, so that's the website. Yes, so I would just like to point out about the website that with that code of conduct page, that's something that we continue to work on. And I think it's important that all of these social dance spaces have the opportunity and the ability for people to give anonymous feedback about our community. This is a way for people to report any harassment or unpleasantness that the organisers might not be aware of, but it is also vital that people in our community feel supported in doing that, even if they don't want any action taken. So even if people just feel like something happened that was a bit ick, we would like to know about it and they can say whether or not we take action. Yes. So I think we continue to have a really large commitment to our zero tolerance policy against harassment and discrimination, and there have been instances this year, unfortunately, where we have had to actively enforce our code of conduct. So I think this is something that makes us different to other dance schools in Hobart, and we hope that this spirit of inclusion and safe practice spreads outside our dance school and into other dance communities in Tasmania. Yes?
Sorry if this is an annoying question. Should teachers be using these if we have concerns about a student?
Anyone can use it.
Right, so a record keeping trail is...
It is a record, yeah. We ask that all members continue to uphold the code of conduct, and please consider asking other dance spaces to have something similar if they don't already, with clear processes and responsible people in charge of this aspect of the organisation. The positivity and inclusiveness of our dance community has been appreciated in many ways and has been so important to our students at various times throughout the year. We would also like to, the executive would also like to extend the invitation at this point to any other dance schools in Tasmania who might like guidance in this aspect of running a dance school. Other dance schools are welcome to come to our meetings and to talk to our organisers about the hard work that we've done in this space. Okay, so with all of this, you may have noticed that our name, TUSA Salsa Dance Society, is now perhaps a bit misrepresentative of what we actually do. We're not just a salsa society, we have so much else going on, not just from Latin America, but from West Africa with Kizombo, and we have Zouk and swing dancing, all these different styles. So our executive and general members have voted on a new name to present to the members. That's you at this AGM. So the name that we would like to present is the TUSA Social Dance Society, abbreviated to TSDS, which indicates that we are a social dance community. We certainly aren't doing performances and things like that, but basically any dance form is welcome and we would love to encourage it. So I would like to move that we change our name right now to the TUSA Social Dance Society, abbreviated to TSDS.
Seconded.
Okay.
How does this work? Do we all cheer?
So,
Hands.
eyes
So which is
One.
positive, which is
Hand
yes?
up. Eyes. Yes, we do. We do make the change. Great. That's easy. Everyone.
Cynthia's eye as well here. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Well done.
Okay. Anyone abstaining? Nays? Okay. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. That's the report.